So like I said in the last video, these attempts to try and hype me up. I mean, I did say in one of the videos a while back, we know what's going on. We know what Tesco's management is doing. I'm not entirely sure, like I've said, that even Tesco knows what they're doing. Tesco's management and middle management. Basically, a few days ago, they tried to make me the term that springs to mind is inebriated. But you lower your inhibitions and then you go kicking off or whatever. Another one is to try and make me overconfident. You know, I've written on the other side of the room. What is it? Groundedness. You know, I've mentioned before. I couldn't give a shit if people think I'm smart or not. You know, but that's sort of it's to set up a scenario, isn't it? You know, it's just the way it is. You know, and you know, it's a sack of shit. But I really don't know why they try these stunts, Tesco's management. But sure enough, they do. Yeah. But like I said, what I do around here is really effective stuff. You know, when you consider as is starting to take place more so, the techniques these people use to try and set up scenarios to see if they're a big deal. What I can tell, what I can gather from what I can surmise is that, like I said in the last video, it really ain't a good idea to hype people up, or to try to hype people up. In my case, but yeah, like I said, what I'm doing is really effective. You know, and I wouldn't even say it's well thought through because it doesn't take much thinking. You know, it may be of value to Tesco's management to actually think more, think with more nous than they had between '96 and 2000. And they've been demonstrating quite often. You know, it would be a pretty worthwhile idea not to have a dumbed down approach to what I do. You know, it really is. You know, like I said, it doesn't take much thinking. And also these attempts to make me overconfident, these attempts to make me have no inhibitions, no you know stuff around that sort of thing. When I'm looking at Tesco TV and doing what I do with things like Tesco TV, and the different branches of Tesco, which is essentially Tesco's TV. And branch of Tesco, sort of thing. You know, sort of makes sense, doesn't it? But yeah, we just had someone depicting a crazy laugh outside. And what's really going on there? Again, this just needs stating. Tesco's top management tells Tesco's middle management to tell the shit-faced socket girls and shelf stackers to do this, that, or whatever. And that is what they do. Right? Would that be such a big deal to me? It wouldn't, would it? It's like I said before. What I do doesn't really amount to that much. And what goes on with Tesco TV, branches of Tesco, and this most boring of branches of Tesco once you boil it down and really see it for what it is, it doesn't really amount to much. And the video I posted about the route to colour TV, proper colour TV, which I can do with the TV anyway. I'll do that quite easily. The video I posted about the route to colour TV was quite interesting in terms of what I say initially, different sources, different types of power. And you see a pattern going on there. Quite, it's more interesting, more significant than an initial viewing of it may suggest. Quite interesting video, though. But yeah, in terms of Tesco's top management, Tesco's middle management, and Tesco's socket girls and shelf stackers, Wayne may have just spotted an aeroplane, a cafe, or a Whittles coach in 2025. It's hard to tell these days. But anyway, right. Yeah, I mean, the case for getting me in one of the branches of Tesco, run by Tesco's middle management, hasn't really been made, has it? There is no case for me being in one of the branches of Tesco run by Tesco's middle management, which is in effect run by Tesco's top management. We know this, and it's really simple stuff. Once, like I say, you boil it down to the bare bones, and you say, right, well, that's what's going on. With a whole load of other techniques that are being used, and to me, it is farcical. To me, it's nothing. I could deal with it very easily. But like I say, going back to what I said about trying to make me overconfident, trying to make me, trying to get me into states where I say things I wouldn't really say, or do things I wouldn't really do. What I say and do doesn't really amount to much. If people acknowledge, well, there's no such thing as mind reading. People who believe in that sort of stuff, like I said before, really belong working for NASA or another branch of Tesco's. So yeah, what I do, doesn't really amount to much, and what Tesco doesn't really amount to much. And not least, since I diverged from the Tesco management and middle management, thought for myself and did the things I do. This type of stuff, this type of stuff really does work that I do. It's effective stuff, really effective stuff. The trouble is, Tesco's management and middle management don't really know what to do, I don't think. Because it can't, it does seem that they struggle to make sense of what I do, which is sort of, it is relevant to mention 96, but the years between 96 and 2000. So really, to wrap up this video, it does sort of work, the stuff that I do. Not just pissing about, even though I like to laugh and, like I said, despite attempts to, like I say, do what Tesco's does, to try and make it anything other than it is, I really am contented with how things are going, with the way things are. I actually enjoy Tesco TV, branch of Tesco, which is essentially branch of Tesco TV and Tesco TV, and this branch of Tesco that is the most boring branch of Tesco you could possibly imagine. Despite, like I keep saying, significant competition. But yeah, as for the lead up to the next instalment of what we've had before, with the Tesco middle management and the Tesco top management, all the build up and all the rest of it. It's pretty, it's pretty predictable and pretty boring, pretty, from where I'm standing, pretty ridiculous and farcical. It just is, that's the way it is. But yeah, like I've said before, if there is any such thing as a denouement, I don't really think there is. It's sort of a prolonged one. So to say I've superseded so many of the techniques, if not all of the techniques, that Tesco's management, middle management use, could be something of an understatement. Like I said about the TV, 4 days, about 4 days to do what I need to do with the TV. For example, Tesco TV. But still, stuff like that, I did do, because Tesco's management and middle management then try to, do what they do. I have to then do what I do, sort of thing. Which again is pretty ridiculous and farcical when you really think about it. I've probably stopped watching Tesco TV. Well, on that thing anyway, sort of thing. Possibly until after the meeting, after the latest instalment of my meeting with Tesco middle management and Tesco top management. And then, it'll be whatever, sort of thing. But yeah, but yeah, it is, no, like I say, if you've watched the content of my videos, and really sort of thought about them, in ways that it often seems the top management and middle management at Tesco struggle with, you'll sort of be able to see that, I've pretty much had to do this sort of thing. Take the approach I take, like I say, which is really effective, and like I've said, even though I couldn't give a shit if people think I'm smart, it's pretty clever stuff. But yeah, what I'll say is that so many people are already in a state like they effectively shit themselves. They see airplanes, cafes, and things like Whittles coaches in 2025. I could say, well, don't. The simple solution is don't. But Tesco's management and middle management are in the predicament they're in, sort of thing, and whatever predicament they're in, I'll just have to work on when it's sort of applied to me, when it's brought to me, sort of thing, in the ways that I do, in the ways that I can, in ways that are really effective, like I keep saying. But again, Tesco's top management and middle management do really seem to think that they can read minds, and seem to be trying to engineer a scenario where they could be trying to read my mind. which again you can't really do. Not sure about everyone, but a lot of people I'd have thought you can't do that sort of thing. Where a lot of people just look at people who try that sort of stuff and think, actually, you're off your head, which is sort of, the way I sort of view Tesco's top management, middle management. That's just the way it is. But you know, yeah. Like I say, these attempts, for example, to try to get me to kick off or be overconfident, so that they can set up scenarios to see what happens, potentially kick off, or cower down to the shenanigans, essentially, of Tesco's top and middle management. Either have been pretty crazy, and to even try to engineer a scenario to set up a situation like that, state of affairs like that, really is, pretty bizarre when you think about it. I've got that coming back. For what purpose? Which is pretty ridiculous. But so many of the techniques are trying to throw at me that to try and see what happens, figure out if they can read minds and stuff like that. The reason I say I've superseded pretty much everything and anything their latest greatest schemes, anything they concoct, I'll just figure it out really quick and just, deal with it and get on with my day and get on with my thinking about Amsterdam. So, like I say, the architect stuff and the amalgam stuff, I've superseded, easily dealt with. The only issue is, it seems that other people haven't. For example, Tesco top and middle management and branch of Tesco's, people who work at the different counters at the branch of Tesco's as well. So, and yeah. So yeah, like I say, I've superseded it. They haven't. So I mean, this sounds really flippant, but I have to tolerate these people. Tesco's top and middle management, people who work on the different counters at Tesco, different branches of Tesco's, etc., and so on and so forth. But yeah, effective stuff, and I'm really chuffed with how I've done. I'm chuffed with how I dealt with stuff. They've continually tried to build up again, to see what happens, to try and engineer scenarios to make the next instalment of Encounters with top and middle management of Tesco's, something that it ain't, but trying to build me up, built themselves up in the process, and it just seems like not the wisest approach to doing things. But yeah, it's like the stuff I've dealt with ages ago. If that's attempted to be like for example, the druggings that took place, I think it was in January, that was really dealt with really well. But I sort of advanced and got better at dealing with attempts to basically repeat that sort of type of stuff. That was not least, I should say, the type of stuff that was attempted in January with the different intense drug-ins that I had to resolve. That should have been left at that. But it does really give an indication of the state of Tesco's top and middle management, that they do attempt these different scenarios. You saw, like I said, Tesco's TV, the different branches of Tesco's TV, the different people at different counters at Tesco's TV, and so on. Like I said, it is pretty amusing. It is quite. Oh, is it interesting? Yeah, but it's more entertaining than anything else. That will sound bizarre to Tesco's top and middle management, I'm sure, but it is. It just is. Like I said, boil it down, see it for what it is. And even though at times it seems like not doing that, the argument to that falls flat as well. Like I said before, I'll kill all flawed arguments dead if I want to. If I feel like it. Don't always feel like it, most of the time I'm just getting, no, the shenanigans, all that they do for a while, as they've tried to build up this next instalment. Like I said, from now on, almost certainly, no more Tesco TV. It's just, quite clearly they're trying to work me. So quite clearly, I've got to think. Well, hang on a sec. They're trying to work me. So what do? You sort of. You sort of figure it out, you supersede it, you use pretty effective approaches pretty effective approaches that shouldn't really be dumbed down, as I see on Tesco TV, that they are often dumbed down. But yeah, so figuring stuff out, superseding stuff, and resolving stuff that needed to be resolved, and superseded and figured out, and so on and so forth, which is essentially stuff that I've covered before anyway. So I don't really need to go there. But I might do at some future stage. Who knows? But yeah. So now it's approaching, what is it? Saturday, Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. 4 days till the next instalment of my encounters with Tesco's top and middle management. There's nothing much to prepare for. Really. But I think now that now can even more so think for myself. Like I said before, diverging from the Tesco management and middle management, and working on what I need to do to prepare to just, like I said, get myself going with my day. And think, well, actually, continental Europe makes complete sense. Amsterdam, I'm pretty much guessing that if it's not a branch of Tesco's, which it may well be, that you won't get people who go crazy when they see aeroplanes, cafes, and things like Whittle's coaches in 2025. That's my impression. that Amsterdam isn't that type of place. You know, that the people there are not like that. You know, that they're not, you know, not so much shit-faced or socky girls and shelf-stuckers at Tesco. You know, I'll see if and when I get there. You know, for the foreseeable future, you know, if I try to, assuming that I have to get Polish citizenship, you know, Tesco's, you know, and, you know, I thought about using the post, the you know, paper communication to try and see if I needed Polish citizenship. You know, because it's used to using this MacBook Air that I've got or the phone that I've got. You know, branches of Tesco, Tesco's top and middle management, etc. So yeah, so I'll bide my time on that, and you know, look forward to it as well. So like I say, basically, you boil everything down to its bare bones. You see the basically, all told, what I do doesn't really amount to much. What Tesco's top middle management, socket girls and shelf stackers do doesn't really amount to much. You know, when you really see it, see all of it for what it is. And yeah, you just get on with stuff, don't you? So yeah, I quite enjoy the way I approach all this. I'm quite impressed. You know, I'm pretty chuffed. You know, and content with how things are. You know, practicalities, sort of thing. So yeah, I've had to do this video in stages, obviously, as you'll know, or you should know, which I sort of thought when I made that one video where I said, well, you know what Tesco's top middle management does. But it's turned out that because Tesco's top and middle management doesn't seem to really know what's going on, the people at the different counters of Tesco, different branches of Tesco's, the socket girls and shelf stackers, and so on and so forth, also don't really know what's going on or what to do. Maybe. You know, it seems that Tesco's top and middle management do think that, well, if we do this, that and everything, we can make the next instalment of something that, if they do that, wouldn't be realistic. And then off the back of that, the things they do off the back of that are pretty crazy and unrealistic. And me, like I said, contentedness, groundedness, level-headedness, ultimately. And you just deal with practicalities. That's about that.